To many, the abiding achievement of Oratorio was that he beat Motivator not once, but twice. The first time in the Eclipse Stakes, some assumed that the Derby winner could not have been at his very best. It was only when Oratorio beat him again, at Leopardstown 2 months later, that he began to win due respect for both performances.
He's a remarkably tough horse. He danced every beat, and every day he pulled out, and as the middle of the season went on, he got better and got tougher.
But to define Oratorio by the reflected glory of his most celebrated victim does him scant justice. After all, this was the horse whose constant and vital contribution to the elite races provided the 2005 season with its recurring motif. Between spring and autumn, Oratorio raced in 8 Group 1 races, and his stock rose nearly every time. It was a very similar story to his juvenile campaign, when he had thrived from race to race, looking better with every new challenge. He showed precocity and pace, winning the Anglesey Stakes over 6 furlongs on fast ground.
They're racing up towards the finish. Oratorio holding Cougar Cat. They go to the line. Oratorio and Shemi Heffernan beats Cougar Cat.
Then stepped up to 7 furlongs, he romped home in the Futurity Stakes.
It is Oratorio and Jamie Spencer, hands and heels, out in front of Democratic Deficit. Oratorio wins it in style.
It was now time for Oratorio to tackle Europe's elite, and he travelled to Paris for the Gr.1 Prix Jean-Luc Lagardere at Longchamp. Here was a clear statement of his intent and his class.
Oratorio, Jamie Spencer towards the far side. Montgomery's Arch finishing, but it's early March. Being tackled now once again by Lehman with on the far side there Oratorio. Oratorio gets up from early March and Lehman in the photo for second.
Like, amazing horse. He's a great head on him, great hind part. He's just lovely size, he's great balance, and he really wanted to win.
This was a colt who always showed up, who rolled up his sleeves and traded punches with the biggest hitters in every discipline. In the Eclipse, his first start over 10 furlongs, Oratorio produced a relentless surge to collar Motivator deep inside the final furlong and win going away.
Motivator runs to the final furlong, about 2 lengths in front. Oratorio, though, is running on strongly down the outside, and so too is Altieri. He gets serious with Motivator, and Oratorio's going past the Derby winner, and Oratorio masters Motivator in the Eclipse.
This was not a colt who had come to pay homage to a brilliant classic winner. He was here to insist upon his own claims as a leader of their generation.
Like, amazing horse. He's a great head on him. Like, he was spot on what he did in the Eclipse, and like he beat him hands down comfortably.
I wasn't worried about the favourite, to be honest with you. And this gives me his best. He could always win this race, you know.
His refusal to stick to the script prepared by others meant that Oratorio was allowed to start at 7-1 when he lined up in the Irish Champion Stakes at Leopardstown. The race fully matched its billing. It was a precise replica of their Sandown form. Once again, Motivator gained first run, and once again he was cut down by the ravenous finish of Oratorio. Once again, the winning margin was half a length.
And Oratorio is the leader from Motivator. Alexander Goldrun on the outside, Azamour on the inner. I'm racing into the closing stages. Oratorio, the leader as they go to the line. Oratorio wins it. Motivator second.
Like Kieran, I remember looking at him in the Champion Stakes. Like, I thought he'd give him a super ride, but Leopardstown was on paper was a much better race than Sandown. All the big horses were there, like the Irish Champion Stakes every year, but every one of them were there, and like he beat them all hands down, fair and square.
Over a period of 18 months, Oratorio showed himself one of the most talented and durable members of his generation. For too long, he was treated as a colt with a point to prove, and that is just how he ran time after time, like the most motivated colt in town.
Look at those performances by Oratorio. They were both, they were sensational, weren't they? And in terms of 3-year-olds, they're the things I think that you take away now from the season. Oratorio has been one of the highlights of the year. His association with Fallon's association with Coolmore, and they've been a sort of unforgettable equation during the year.
At 2, he was the champion 2-year-old of France, thanks to a Group 1 success on the biggest day of their calendar. And at 3, he joined an elite group of only 4 3-year-olds to win both the Eclipse Stakes and the Irish Champion Stakes, including exceptional sires in Sadler's Wells and Giant's Causeway.
Danehill is an exceptional stallion, and his sons are going to be priceless.
Oratorio masters Motivator.
All you can say, really tough, really consistent, very versatile. He had speed and stamina. He had great constitution. He could be a super sire.
And the way this horse won, people went away from Newmarket that day thinking they'd seen a very, very good horse.
It was a very, very good performance on the day, and the impression he left one with at Newmarket was that he was a nailing good horse.
To be unbeaten, to win a Guineas in the style he did, on that performance, you've got to say he was very good.
First horse I saw him was Footsteps, and I knew straight away that they couldn't have anything better there. The feel he gave me, I knew as soon as I saw him this horse that I'd win the Guineas.
Yeah, Kieran was always really impressed with this horse. He said from the first day he rode him, he said he never ever rode a 3-year-old that gave him the feel that he was getting from him.
Footsteps in the Sand was a remarkable racehorse. As much was apparent from his first formative steps when he went from an unraced 2-year-old to group winner in the space of 8 short days. His debut was as explosive as it gets. Quickly away in a maiden over 1,200 metres at Naas, the colt powered clear before he was eased down to score by 4.5 lengths from 19 others.
Footsteps in the Sand way out in front, being chased by Olympic, and the gamble looks to be landed in tremendous style as Footsteps in the Sand wins hard held. Stable companion Olympic probably going to get the second.
That auspicious beginning was quickly endorsed when Footsteps in the Sand annexed the Gr.1 Stakes, a Group 3 test over 1,400 metres at Leopardstown. The colt shot clear on reaching the straight and never looked back, coasting to victory by 2 lengths and 7, just as an odds-on favourite should.
Footsteps in the Sand over on the far side with the advantage. Gaff trying to challenge, and they have it between them, clear of the remainder. Inside the final furlong, Footsteps in the Sand the leader. From Gaff in second, they're 7 or 8 clear of flashes of the Ashton Crystal View at 100 yards to race. Footsteps in the Sand driven out by Jamie Spencer, going on to win it. Footsteps in the Sand wins the Killavullen by 2 lengths from Gaff.
He won the Killavullen on very bad ground. He was a horse really wanted fast ground, but his ability just carried him through. He won very easy. The minute Jamie asked him to quicken up, he quickened up and the race was over in a matter of strides.
The eulogies flowed, in particular one from Jamie Spencer. He has an enormous amount of ability, the jockey vouchsafed. The world is his oyster. When he gets fast ground next year, we will be in business. So it proved.
Once, I asked him to go and stretch, he put the race to bed very quick, and that's what really impressed me, from the 2 furlong pole to the furlong pole. And he was typical then, he was easing up in front. Like, if he kept going the same momentum, he'd probably won 10 lengths. Proper racehorse.
To his trainer, Aidan O'Brien, Footsteps was a chip off the old block.
Great tactical speed, and was very like his dad, that he'd wait on horses to come to him and fight, but very exceptional horse.
To date, Footsteps in the Sand had done exactly what he was bred to do. Be an unbeaten group winner as a juvenile, just like both his parents. Giant's Causeway already has 7 Group or Grade 1 horses from his first crop, along with Grade 1 Hopeful Stakes winner First Samurai from his second. As you'd expect, the book of mares bred to Giant's Causeway in his first year at stud was nothing less than regal.
Madison on the outside. She's starting to work pretty hard to try and gather in this leader. She draws level on the outside now with 50 yards to go.
Regal does justice to Gr.1, an unbeaten juvenile group winner from one of the most prolific families in Europe today. The best way to summarise is to note that Gr.1 matched the rare distinction of both her dam and grandam in winning a group race. Black type is etched in every branch of the line. Footsteps in the Sand is a half-brother to Frappe, herself dam of 2005 Group 2 Royal Ascot heroine Thakafat. They are out of Dancing Rocks, herself winner of the Nassau Stakes, now a Group 1 race, and dam of 4 black-type performers among 9 victorious offspring. The family is punctuated throughout by horses of superior racing class. Another of Gr.1's half-sisters, Council Rock, is dam of European champion 2-year-old filly Superstar Leo.
Footsteps in the Sand, sire-wise, he's by Giant's Causeway. He's from the first crop of Giant's Causeway, like he was setting the Northern Hemisphere on fire.
100 yards left to go now. Maze Causeway, Kerrin's keeper. They're going to go to the line, absolutely locked together. Photo!
Dam-wise, his dam was a fabulous 2-year-old. She won the Prestige at Goldrun. She's by Rainbow Quest, Broodmare sire of 2 of the last 3 Derby winners. Very closely related to Superstar Leo, one of the fastest 2-year-old fillies we've had in Europe in a long time. It's a good combination of speed, class. he should be able to get the type of horses that would win a good 2-year-old race and go on.
Horses from ordinary routes rarely prevail in the European Classics. On that basis, Footstepsinthesand was supremely credentialed for his assault on the 2,000 guineas at Newmarket. The build-up to the race was a fraught affair. Ballydoyle's gallops were waterlogged after incessant spring rains. All the stable's horses had improved markedly for their seasonal debuts, yet Footstepsinthesand would arrive at Newmarket without a run for 6 months. Awaiting him was Dubawi, the red-hot favourite with a huge reputation after a perfect preparation.
Footstepsinthesand, he took the eye, and he compared very, very favourably with, when you looked at him and you looked at Dubawi, you know, out of the two, you wouldn't have backed Dubawi, you'd have definitely backed him on looks.
Dubawi, like 17 others, would be left floundering in the wake of Footstepsinthesand, whose acceleration settled the Classic in a handful of strides. After making ground on the outer from halfway, Kieran Fallon quickly had the field covered.
Footstepsinthesand is also handy on the far side.
Whenever the pace was just picked up a bit, he was very easy on the pace. He found it no trouble to travel through the race. And as soon as he was asked to pick up, the response was immediate, and he shot clear, and the race was over in a couple of strides.
And it's Tony James taken on by Footstepsinthesand, then Candidate in the centre, Party Boss. Dubawi begins to unwind, so too Democratic Deficit on the near side, followed by Tucker and Rebel, but inside the final furlong is Kieran Fallon on Footstepsinthesand, who leads up the hill now from Candidate. Rebel tries to run on Dubawi on the near side, but Footstepsinthesand, giant strides on the turf at Newmarket and wins the Guineas.
You have to say on the day he was a very, very impressive winner. He'd only run twice before, and I think it was a very, very good performance. The impression he left one with at Newmarket was that he was a nailing good horse.
Dubawi, well beaten in 5th, quickly franked the form when he landed the Irish 2,000 guineas in Footstepsinthesand's absence. We will never know just how good was Footstepsinthesand. He retired unbeaten in 3 starts, each of them won by clear water, each demanding a quantum leap in form. Each time, Footstepsinthesand was more than a match for the challenge.
He was showing unbelievable natural pace, even probably more so than his sire did at that stage. Giant's Causeway got beat in his first 2 guineas, the Irish and the English. But this fella was very natural from day one. If it was possible, he had more natural early pace than his dad at this stage, and we were really looking forward to going to America with him, because we saw what his father did in America when he went there. Like, this was a really, really exceptional horse.
He was tough, you know, he was tough. Very, very like Giant's Causeway in the sense that when he got there, he used to idle and he was waiting for his opposition and then start, and he just really wear them down. But when I asked him to quicken at Newmarket, I mean, it was all over in 2 strides.
And of course, Footstepsinthesand is by Giant's Causeway, the iron horse who is now the Iron Sire. He's the sire of 7 Group 1 horses from his first crop. Pride of place among them belongs to Footstepsinthesand. He is the only unbeaten racehorse among them. You know what they say, like father, like son.
He was a very good 2-year-old. He was unbeaten. He had 2 runs at 2. His first race he won 4.5 lengths over 6 furlongs.
And the gamble looks to be landed in tremendous style as Footstepsinthesand wins hard held.
And then 7 days later he ran in the Kilvulgan, won impressively at 2.5 lengths.
Footstepsinthesand driven out by Jamie Spencer, going on to win it. Footstepsinthesand wins the Kilvulgan.
And he showed that natural speed. He's by Giant's Causeway, as you know at the moment. He's just a phenomenal sensation, storm cap, a whole lot. And I think he's a very, very exceptionally good-looking horse. Great family back line, and he's a horse for the future. It's a pity we just couldn't keep him right for this year. I think he would have shown his real battle qualities, but he was so impressive at Newmarket.
Giant's Causeway is battling well, so they fight again. It's Calanisi and Giant's Causeway at the line. Oh, Giant's Causeway maybe.
Giant's Causeway on the outside. Giant's Causeway and Tisdale battling head-to-head. A heart-pounding, pulsating stretch time.
Giant's Causeway, obviously, he established his reputation over 2 seasons. This horse barely had a season and a run. Giant's Causeway was talented and a fighter, and of course he did it on 2 surfaces. This horse didn't have the chance to put his best foot forward. But when he did get the opportunity at Newmarket, you'd have to be very impressed the way he did it.
Giant's Causeway is giving the strength, the power, the fight, and this is very good that the stallion can stamp his best progeny.
He'd have to be the best. You know, he'd have to be the best miler I've ridden. And he's a horse who was getting better all the time.